Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Awashai Bahasham Makakadash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that look like those heathen nations. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone, coming at you another lesson in truth. And it's strange how the Lord works and how the Spirit works, but I was actually watching a video that the elder Bahara did from Chicago, and it was about, the video was about these women, these 12-year-old girls, young women, because once you reach the flower of your age, biblically and in the ancient world, even in some places in the world today, you're considered a woman. All right, there's still places where you get married at 14, 15 years old. In some places around the world, starting your families already. My grandmother was married at 14 and ended up having 12 children. All right, my grandfather was 19 years old, 19 pushing 20 when he married her. All right. And they end up having a huge family, a Gadite woman and a Reubenite man. But those are both Native Americans for anyone who doesn't know the difference. Now you know. But this movie right here, what made me think about that, Salakia, before I get into the movie, was the lesson that he was doing about these women who were talking, when his teacher asked all these 12-year-old girls question about family and strong family, and if is it okay, for a woman for a single woman to have children. And then they all, for the most part, all of them but one who wasn't born here in America, agreed that it was okay and it was good, and started screaming all this independence and strong women. But that's all a lie. Why? Because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, who is Esau, Edom, which is why you're going to have a dystopian reality like the one that's on the screen. All right, this is taking place after the Third World War, after some sort of pandemic and whatever else has happened. And I do believe that they're in Europe, in some part of Europe. I think it could be in America. I'm not sure, but nevertheless, you're following after the guide of a people who clearly aren't fit to rule. Job 9:28 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The wicked is Esau, Edom, and the scripture says, "Is there no more wisdom in Teman?" So clearly their ways of doing things is not working. It's going to eventually lead you to what you're looking at on the screen. People surviving for scraps. All right. This woman following this man because she sees him as a pillar of strength, as a source of covering and food and protection. And he's just trying to get away from her, but she's following him. All right. And I'm going to play a short portion of the clip. And I got to finish watching this movie because I started watching it and started thinking about the video that Barrad did, and this guy questioning these girls, and he said, well, the question is, but we're talking about building society, and you think it's okay to build a society with single women. Well, what about the men in this society? And then the girl says some of the most outlandish, stupid things. And I think that all that has been set in motion by Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And it was really set up and aimed toward the Judites, toward the so-called black community, but it spread to the rest of the tribes. And now this same wickedness and destruction of the family and elevation of woman over the man has spread unto Esau, Edom, and it spread to other countries. And these women have this complete delusional mindset that they can have a society without men. And scream about freedoms and feminism this and all these other different things when everything that they have was granted unto them and given to them by men, including their protection and their well-being. All right, including the wicked man who gave them this false power that they seem to have given. But when put in a situation like this, where there's lawlessness and no law and no control and just utter chaos, things went right back to their natural order. All right, went right back to its natural order. So let me all right, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about this without because I can't play. I don't want to play that much of the movie, only a few seconds. But there were three men this cornered another man, while this man you see on the screen that's trying to walk away from this girl watched, because they both end up foraging in the same place for food. And he saw, and the guy didn't, none of the guys saw him. He saw them all, including the man that they were chasing. All right, and they cornered him. They disarmed him. All right, with kind of, they had like riot shields, so they just kind of encircled him and then charged him with, and he tried to fight, but the shields went away, and it's 3-on-1, and they were able to grab him and disarm him, and they gutted him. All right, they killed him, gutted him, and cooked him. And this man just stayed hid. All right, he watched it happen, but he didn't get involved. All right, because he had his own thing going on. He had a little place where he had hid out, and he had stacked up food and water, and he would just come out, forage, gather up water from boil it, clean it, and then drink it, and he was just surviving. All right, but he watched in horror as he collected canned goods from the ramsacked house that he was in, and went back to his little dwelling place, pondering the murder, and the act of cannibalism he had just witnessed. All right, so matter of fact, let me grab a couple scriptures. The first one is speaking on these women with this outlandish, delusional mindset of they have freedom and they're secure. Even now, they really aren't. And all that's going to end real soon. This is Isaiah 32:9. It says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear to my speech. Many days and years ye shall be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, you women that are at ease. Be troubled, and ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare. Gird up sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats and the pleasant fields for the fruitful vine." So those teats would be all the welfare that they collect, all the payments that they collect, and the benefits that was given to them by men. All right? And it's all going to be taken away. And they're going to realize that they aren't the strongest, man. They're not, they really are the weaker vessels. Even if you work out and got muscles, it's still not going to help you against a man. All right? It really isn't. All right? Man's strength is man's strength, and woman's strength is woman's strength. All right? And these days are going to come. Why? Because the Lord is visiting the world that he made. This is 2 Ezra 9, 1-6, and it reads, "And he answered me and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest part of the signs which I have told thee before. Then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt understand that it is that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning." Enoch was prophesying about the end of days, the destruction of of this current of the world, of the age. And that was in an age he wasn't even in yet. All right. It says, "For like as all that is in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs." So all the signs are here that the end and that this dystopian time is upon us. It's all here. It's happening literally before your face. All right. A couple more scriptures, and I'm gonna play a bit of this video as I tell a little bit more of the story. This is especially with those acts of cannibalism, man. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 53, because people are going to be eating their own, themselves, their own children, their own family members, their own friends, their own neighbors. It's going to get that bad. And it says, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, all right? The flesh of thy sons and daughters, which the Lord thy power hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, wherein thy enemy shall distress thee. So it's going to be distress throughout the land, and people are going to eat themselves, their own flesh. Your children are your own flesh. Your brother and sister is your own flesh. Your first cousin, your mother and father, that's your own flesh. All right? First cousin on your father's side anyway. So on your mother's side, that's a different bloodline. But the first cousin on your father's side, that's like a brother or sister. If it came from your father's brother. I mean, that's going to go into a whole nother lesson. Because your father and his brother are the same waters, literally. All right? They're the same water. So your first cousins from your father's brother literally are like brothers and sisters. That's a really close relation. You're the same waters. Now, from your father's sister, her children are from a different bloodline because that man is not related, But your father's children are really close relation. All right, but this is Ecclesiastes 4:25. Let's get that. 4:25. 4, that's not 25, 2 through 5. And it reads, Ecclesiastes 4:2, and it says, wherefore I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living which are yet alive. Yeah, better is he than both they which they have not yet been, and who have not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Again, I consider all the travail in every right work. That is for a man that is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. The fool foldeth his hands together and eateth his own flesh. Right? It's going to be so bad out here. People are going to eat of themselves. I mean, their own family, their own children, their own family members, and in some cases, even of their own self. They're going to cut off a part of their own, like in the movie Snowpiercer. All right? So anyway, this man, I'm going to play this scene eventually. I'm only literally going to play like 10, 15 seconds of it because I don't want to get hit, even though I've read the copyright disclosure. Somebody will still... You can't trust YouTube to follow the rules. They make up rules as they go. Right now, I have no strikes on any of my channels at the time, but they've taken away my ability to repost videos because on my larger channels, I repost a lot of information and they don't like that. So this is also the beginning of the famine of the word, right? But he eventually allows her to come with him. She uses her female persuasion and gets on her knees and begs, and and he looks in the distance, checking through his little scope. He didn't see anyone following him. So he takes her back. And they said, and they eat, the canned goods, and they boil water in his tea. And the next day he's out foraging for food and comes, oh, yeah, I already read this, Salakia. I wrote down this stuff so I wouldn't forget it. He said, actually, I already talked about this. Yeah, because what happened, all that stuff that he had foraged, he took her back and he cooked for her, basically. He made pigeons because he caught a couple pigeons, which are actually legal to eat if you didn't know. That's in the chicken family. I mean, the ones in the city are just so nasty because they eat garbage and stuff that people leave on the ground. But you best believe when these days come, they'll people gonna be eating all these birds and these pigeons. They're gonna be eating birds that they're not supposed to eat. All right. But he cooked them dinner, and and she tried to offer herself to him, and he denies it because of trust issues, and and shows her where she can sleep. And in the middle of the night, she fills up her backpack and leaves, with all the stuff his stuff, all right. And he's wide awake. He hears her go and just lets her go, all right. But then she returns with their group, all right, and and she returned to a group of men, and told them that that she picked them dry, all right, and said we can move on, and just goes to show you should never trust a woman. As a matter of fact, let's get that Proverbs 31:3. And it reads, "Give not thy strength unto a woman, nor thy ways that which destroyeth kings." So he should have never. Matter of fact, when she says she'll do anything, he should have just went ahead and took advantage of it. He should have popped it out. She dropped to her knees. He should have went ahead and let her handle that, and then just told her to get about her way. Thanks, lady, and go about her way, because she did exactly what he was contemplating she would do. And she brought men back to him, and they woke him up out of his sleep. All right? And they show up to his place, and they beat him and robbed him, completely. They took everything. And he was like, "Hey, I'll share it with you. I got stuff. I'll share it." He said, "No." He said, "You know what? I can make you all your things for your life." All right? And then he said, "Give us everything." So then he had a little secret stash of alcohol, and that won him over when he gave him the alcohol. So they beat him up some more. And then the guy said he was tied up to a chair. And the guy said, "You know what? I'm going to keep my end of the deal. You gave us everything." Because he was like, "Did you touch my girl?" And he was like, "I know," and he didn't touch her. All right? And he said, "Because while I was out sleeping in the cold, she was in here with you. What man could deny this?" And, she wasn't the prettiest thing, but, as far as, end of the world scenario, she definitely was good to go for that, because she wasn't butt ugly or nothing like that either, But he never touched a woman, all right? And because his mind wasn't on that. This dude was all about surviving. He wasn't thinking about, that sort of thing. And when I'm at, some men will, though. That's gonna be priority for a lot of men. Food and sex from women, right? And then being that there's way more women than men, these women are gonna be getting passed around like trading cards, And it says, and so anyway, the guy said, "Well, she lied to me to protect you. So you must have really put it on her or something." And it was simply she actually thought that the guy was honorable. That's why she did what she did. She didn't, she figured if she just filled up her bag and showed up with canned goods and said, I took everything and left him, but the guys that wasn't good enough for them. So they went back to make sure they got everything. All right, which makes me think about Second Ezra. So let's go to Second Ezra, 15th chapter. We started about verse 14, read through 19, and it reads, "Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and destruction draweth nigh, and one shall stand up and fight against another, for swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions they shall stand in their power. And a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation." And that's exactly what happened. They came in, spoiled his house with swords, and literal swords. They have makeshift weapons, bats with blades on them, sticks with blades on them, and things like that, knives and daggers. Clearly, that's what made me think they were in Europe, because it wasn't. No one had a gun. All right, didn't see a gun yet. I still haven't finished the movie. And then one thing's for sure, everyone's gonna run out of bullets anyway. So guns are only gonna be. It's literally gonna go back to hand-to-hand combat. And those who have skills in those things are gonna prevail. All right. But they showed up to do this to this guy, man, and they beat him and left him tied up, and he ended up breaking loose and going to get one weapon, a pretty good weapon that he uses later on, all right, and because he snapped, all right, and he went out and found, he went and grabbed that weapon of water he had created that he hid, and he began to hunt them down, track them down, and he saw the smoke for the fires as they were cooking and drinking and have a good old time with all his stuff. All right, and he waited until it got dark. When the sun went down, and he approached the camp to extract revenge. But guess what? The cannibals were already on them dudes. They saw the fires too. All right. But he screamed and awaked them, and they woke up, and the fight was on. The dudes were fighting for their lives with the cannibals. All right, and he was fighting and killing the cannibals himself because he wanted his stuff back. So but the cannibals end up overcoming that group of guys, but he and the girl were the last two, and they end up killing all. He killed basically with his help. They end up killing all the cannibals, but the whole group went down. All right, so it's just him and the girl left, and matter of fact, and he ordered the girl, hey, pick up everything you can carry of my stuff, all right, and you come with me. So basically, now their situation had changed because she had no more covering, no protection from these guys. She couldn't use her body, all her holes, and I mean the holes in her body that she was using to get favor with these men so they would keep feeding her and keep her alive, right, and protect her. That was over, all right, because she now was his mule. She had to carry his stuff, and he told her, if you fall behind, I'm leaving you. And now she saw the horrors of these cannibals. It says, this is Isaiah 32:2, and it reads, and a man shall be a hiding place from the wind and a covert from the tempest, as the rivers of the waters in a dry place, and the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. All right, so in a weary land where the sun is bright, and the shadow of a great rock can protect you from the sun and keep you alive. That's how this man is going to be, even though you're in a dire situation. All right, and so that's why later on in scripture it says, woe to ye women that are at ease. All right, thinking you're going to keep collecting benefits from a government that was set up by men, by the way, forever, and you're not. Okay, but the cannibals took the girl's boyfriend. He wasn't dead. They took him alive, and now he's on his knees begging for his life. I'll do anything, And as they watched him gut his black friend, and cut his arms and his legs off and gut him like he was a damn cow, and prepare him for a meal. And he said, what do I have to do? What can I'll do anything. And the guy said, women, we want your women. So like I said, these women you're going to get the carousel is going to ride you just like it was riding her, because that's what she had to do to remain a part of this group. All right. Okay. Let's, matter of fact, let me play a little bit of this clip, then I'll read one last scripture. Okay, to wrap this up. So remember, copyright disclaimer has been proclaimed.
Stop following me. I won't give you any more.
Please, just listen. I haven't seen any of us in months. You can trust me, I swear. You can't leave me here.
Watch me.
What's wrong with you? I'm not bad. I'm like you.
You don't know anything about me.
If you'd want to hurt me, you'd have done it already. I'll prove myself to you. Let me come with you.
How stupid do you think I am? Take what I've given you and fuck off.
You've given me a day's worth of food. I'm starving. I have nothing.
No more child support. No more alimony. No more SNAP.
Please, don't leave me here.
She just said, I'll do anything. Please don't leave me here. All right, one last scripture. This is 2 Ezra 15. I'm going to start about 55. I believe the point is in 58. But it says, the reward for thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore thou shalt receive recompense. So all this is going to happen unto these people that have done this unto us. All right. Like as thou hast done unto my children, saith Yahweh, even so shall God do unto thee, and thou shalt be delivered into mischief. So that's why they're killing each other. All right. Knocking each other over the head and then eating each other. Because in this world right here, you lose a fight. You all right? You get knocked out. You get eaten. All right. You don't get to wake up. All right. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword, and the city shall be broken down, and all thy shall perish with the sword in the field. All right. They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink their own blood, for the hunger of the bread and the thirst of water. All right. So she don't want to end up food for cannibals, sex and food for cannibals, but that's what the reality is going to be. Shalom.